Okay, let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the second episode of Candid with Carver. I had some of you send in some questions, and obviously couldn't get to all of them on the first one, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the second episode and start off with the next question. Also, good friend Akasan was nice enough to join in with me last time, so guess what? He's back.
We promise you this is a completely different day. Yeah. Look at our clothes. That's
completely. Yeah. It's like, come on. So, let's get started, shall we? So, the first question for today would be what's your favorite? I think this was the second part of the question from the last one where they asked me about the shirtless roll. So they said, what's your favorite body part or feature?
Charlie's got to stop into these questions and man.
My smile. Okay. No, I don't think I actually have one. That's a good question. Opposite direction. What's yours? What did I think of the new Flash? Okay. So the Ezra Miller picture that was posted, concept art of him in a new Flash costume.
Oh,
what do I think of it? It reminds me of the TV show, almost like they took the CW Flash, Grant's Flash, and John Wesley Shipp's Flash, and put them together. And like body style wise, they kept it closer to Grant's, but the coloring and how it's popping is a mix between the two. I think it's interesting. It's nice for concept art. I think it'll be interesting to see how it's made if they go with this version when it's in motion, because it looks like it might be thick latex. So, it depends, because certain materials work well with camera lighting and some don't. But I'm interested in seeing whatever they do with the Flash, because it's been a long time waiting for a Flash cyborg movie or anything else.
Just get it done. Get it done.
Right. What's the best part of Japan, and what's it like being a commercial star? Okay. Best part of Japan.
Good question. Yeah.
I can't think like one specific thing. But I'd say people. People here are great. Food is fantastic.
Yeah.
Culture is interesting. It's challenging, so that definitely keeps you on your toes. And
I always felt it's peaceful.
It is peaceful.
I find it peaceful. Mentally peaceful. There are problems, but it's never of the same volume level that you'll have on an everyday basis in America, in the States. Yeah, it's just peaceful.
It's not. Like the most stressful things that I see on the news recently of people who are like having a mental break is, stemming from like lack of work or what they consider drug abuse here, which isn't the same as the States. Someone is smoking weed and they got caught, and it's like, oh, well, that's the end of your career. That's happened a couple of times recently.
Well, interesting enough, I was just talking with a coworker, a friend, about this today, and the fact that how it's crazy how somebody can get 10 years in prison or something for possession of marijuana in Japan. But at the same time, you can literally order cannabis oils legal in Japan.
Yes.
The same thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, you can smoke that oil and it's fine.
Yeah, they've given special regulations to cannabis here in the past 2 years, maybe 3, but I want to say in the last 2 years. So there are new companies and brands that are popping up who are, legitimately legal to sell it and things of nature. But no, you cannot smoke marijuana here. If you are thinking of here's a tip for anyone traveling to Japan. If you're considering, well, maybe if I keep just the legal amount for the U.S. in my package or clothing, don't even get on the plane. Just stop.
They will turn you around.
If you get caught with drugs coming into this country, you will get a minimum of 5 to 10 year ban. Like, you can't even
look at
get
Paul
off
McCartney,
the tarmac.
most famous incident. Yeah, Paul McCartney got banned.
Not just Paul. That happened to Robert Downey and Paris Hilton as well. So that's, you know, every country has their rules and regulations. Even if we don't agree with it, it's like, it sucks. So there were many a movie premiere that some of these people did not come to for that reason, which kind of sucks, because that's like long past that 10-year time limit, but it is what it is. Okay, so what's it like being a commercial star in Japan? I don't know. It's fun, I guess. You know, I've been here for a while, and I enjoy the way that people treat me when they see me, not just because of being a celebrity, but just because they're nice in general. So that's one of the things I do love about being here in Japan. Moving on. Favorite TV show of all time? Ooh. That's a difficult question. Favorite TV show of all time is hard to answer because I watch a lot of television. I'll give you some of my favorites. But my favorite television show of all time would have been Game of Thrones had it not ended the way it did. So that's why I want to give it that crown, but I can't. I always feel bad for that. Yeah. The last 3 episodes ish of the last season, like it didn't happen. You know, like X-Men 3. Just some fans don't count it.
What were they gonna do?
It is what it is.
What could they do? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go back a few years and now. Luther, Sherlock, Elementary, Arrow. Because, you know, I will just say the Arrowverse as a whole, because I really enjoy the crossovers. Well, okay. Yeah, I do, because I like the crossovers.
You don't need to say. You don't have to. There's a lot that doesn't need
don't need to list them, but that's why I said the Arrowverse, because that includes all of them. For my little side stuff, The Boys is turning out to be interesting. Vikings. Yeah, Vikings is pretty badass. That's definitely one of my favorite shows. But you know, there's more. There's a lot. But you know, for the time being, that, and if it's animation wise, I'd say Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Nice.
Yeah. Justice League.
No Korra.
Batman. The Adventures of Batman. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed Batman and Superman, actually. Both of them were really good. I thought they were powerful in storytelling, music, composite, the whole 9. They were just great programs. Korra, she's a close second for Avatar. The reason she doesn't beat Avatar for me is because I feel like some of the characters that carried over into the show, like Toph, I don't think they did them justice. Toph went from being, well, I mean, they made her.
I like what happened with her.
I didn't. They made it a misguided mother. I mean, she just straight up abandoned her kids. Their father. They're like, who is he? She returned to the earth. No one knows. And not just return to Earth, she returned to the swamp. I don't have a problem with that part, but it's like,
I kind of get what they're trying to give her a Yoda sort of deal. Yeah,
she could be Yoda without disregarding her kids, her child. It's part of the journey. It just seemed weird.
Go homeless.
It just
go broke.
It felt
get woke.
It felt flat. Felt flat. Style. Yeah, that and the end. And was it Korra? Yeah. As much as I enjoyed her character, she started off being pretty much the most powerful character in a good 70 plus years from childhood. And that's even before learning everything about being an Avatar. Of course, she goes to her trial. She gets stripped. She gets the power back. She disconnects all the avatars altogether. And then her character just gets busted from every season. I was like, her character has development, but she can't win for losing literally the entire time. And it's just, I felt sorry for her character. I felt like for the first time for them to have a strong female role, they could have done a little bit more with their character. as opposed to
we wouldn't want them to marry Sue her like they did Ray. Constantly. Yeah.
Well, then there's that. So yeah. Moving on.
Cool.
What do I think is the most underrated DC film, animated or live action?
Easy, Suicide Squad. No. Go ahead. It's your segment.
It's funny you troll. It's funny you troll, but I do think Suicide Squad does get thrown under the bus a lot.
I think so. Yeah.
I enjoyed. I'll put it this way: marketing wise, they did some fantastic marketing because it got everybody interested in watching the movie, whether they enjoyed it or not. The movie, just like Justice League, it got thrown into a wood chipper and came out put back together with some lukewarm clay, but it had some enjoyable parts to it. Some of the characters were interesting. I enjoyed the movie as a movie. Do I think the story could have been stronger and told differently? Of course, with any live action feature, of course. Underrated animated feature, DC film.
As a film,
that's hard because actually, the DC animated films are actually I enjoyed most of them. So, yeah.
I would say Crisis on Two Earths.
What's underrated for you?
Crisis on.
I don't know.
It's underrated because
underrated. That's a badass.
No, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter if you like it. Myself and you, we're gonna like almost anything DC puts out. But my point is, nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever referenced Crisis on Two Earths. They were doing the multiverse idea and the thought way before it was even like a concept, even before the Flash was doing it on TV. Dwayne Duffy wrote an amazing story, and they essentially the original boys world of the CSA. I have yet to see anybody adapt the CSA. Is that what they were called? Right? CSA? Or no? I feel like I'm saying it wrong. The evil
Justice
crime
Society?
lord syndicate.
No. You're thinking of the crime syndicate.
The crime syndicate. What are they
crime
called?
syndicate. So what? Because
CSA,
what you're
right?
doing, you're thinking the crime syndicate and the Injustice League mixed, two different groups, but the concept is basically the same.
I mean, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Correction. Flash did the first. The Flash is the character that actually somewhat opened the doors to the multiverse, and that was when way back in the day when Jay Garrick was the Flash.
I'm talking about
his character didn't go well. No, but the first time they actually dove into the multiverse was then.
Right. The idea of
Barry Allen as the
the idea of introducing the multiverse to mainstream type fans and things like that. I feel like Dwayne Duffy really tackled that really well. And I definitely feel it's an underrated show, and it's one of the best, probably one of the last quality animations that DC Animation had put out for quite some time. I will never forget that fight between Wonder Woman and I think her name is Ultra Woman, or maybe something like that.
Superwoman,
yeah. Wonder Woman and Superwoman, and the way she hogtied that bitch and was just like submit. I was like, that was great.
That is definitely one of my favorite animations from DC, hands down. Storytelling, the way it was put together is just awesome. And then
I would say it's criminally underrated.
Batman, Superman, Apocalypse. Because that's when Supergirl gets introduced. And as we're talking about Wonder Woman, one of my absolute favorite fight scenes is where she's fighting the Furies. Oh my goodness. They get that ass whooped.
Though I feel that one gets referenced quite often, even to this day.
Really?
Handsome Man.
It needs to be referenced more often because it was good.
Handsome Man became a meme of handsome Superman. His face became a meme. Andre something from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Everybody knows him as the voice of Darkseid. So I don't know. I feel that one gets brought up quite often. Yeah. But okay, let's move on. Next question.
Okay. Next. What is the most underrated MCU film or animated? Animated, I guess, what is it? Ultimate Spider-Man?
Oh, really?
Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man, I think. Because I see there's a mix of people where some people hated it and some people like it.
Not Spider-Verse.
No, not Spider-Verse.
Oh, you mean the series? I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Like, that's a hard one.
It's like they're trying to they're trying to tap into the 80s feel with the campiness and things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. As far as the underrated MCU film, Ant-Man, I guess, because looking at the cast and the story and things of that nature, I think that they have a good, strong cast. They have good chemistry. The character is interesting in his own universe, but the timing of the release didn't work well. Marketing wise, I think they had it too close together to what was going on with the Infinity Saga,
Civil War,
and I think it but not just Civil War, but Infinity War. It overshadowed the first and the second movie. So now that things have kind of calmed down, I guess somewhat thanks to COVID, when Ant-Man 3 eventually comes out, I think it'll be its first time to actually shine on its own and have a chance for its day in the sun, so to speak. Because I like Rudd. I think he was funny, and Evangeline Lilly. I like those two together. So anyways,
for me, I would just for me, I was gonna say either Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or Captain Marvel for and like you can be underrated or underappreciated and still make a shitload of money. Yeah, because I feel people don't really give Captain Marvel that particular film, give that one the respect it deserves in terms of I went back and when I watched it, I was like, I mean, we watched it with Callie and that was annoying as hell, so I was embarrassed to just be there. That was a whole nother thing. Like, oh my god, I have never seen we just talked about how Japan is so peaceful. It's bad when a Japanese woman gets up and tells Callie to shut up
and tells Callie to shut up in English. Yeah
that was but anyways, I went back and I watched that movie again after Infinity War. I mean, Endgame, and I was like, oh shit, this movie is actually pretty well done. Like, it was like when I don't have distractions in my ear, I'm like, this is actually pretty damn good. And then with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I just felt that was one of the best. The cinematography, the development of Drax, the acting was really well done. So I don't know why that one gets thrown under the bus a lot for whatever reason. And I always thought that it was a very matured film from the first one. So
yeah,
there you go.
Fair. Okay. Moving on. Now that the Flashpoint movie is confirmed to reset everything in the DCEU, what do I want them to keep or change in our already set universe?
That's a good question.
Well, I can say something. What would you like? I'm looking forward to seeing something. Looking forward to seeing next year in the cut for HBO Max is what they do with Darkseid. Him, and if they introduce any of his apocalyptic weaponry, other characters, that kind of thing in the story to say how it ties together. And it's like, oh, because of this is how Flashpoint gets made or gets done, just for story continuity. Okay, cool. Otherwise, as far as
right, because fair enough, technically that's the past. That's not pre
Flashpoint. But yeah. Well,
so what do you want to see for
Flashpoint that's leading up to Flashpoint?
Yeah.
Because what I'm hoping, yes, what I'm hoping is because of that, by the end of the 4-hour movie cut or whatever, that it is after Flashpoint, or at least where Flashpoint begins, and it's brighter or moves on to something else. Something I'd like them to keep: Wonder Woman, Aquaman, And I mean, he's signed for 3 more movies, so they're keeping him. But what I'd like is Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg specifically to stay, and they do something with them. I definitely like to see Cyborg interact with another character. Flash, I guess, or Wonder Woman, because Aquaman, he's off on his own, and metal and water don't mix so well. There's a comment after that and said they're a big fan of me, and they also enjoy my interactions with you. Thank you, appreciate it.
As they should.
They should. I agree. What was the hardest thing about moving to Japan? Leaving family. Being in another country without family for almost the first time. I mean, I've been all over, but this is technically the first time to be away where they're not with me for an extended period of time. So yeah, I do miss, family back home, especially when someone gets sick or passes, or, celebrating birthdays and holidays. I miss that kind of stuff. If I could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be? That's a good question. Because the place that I'd like to live and go back to more often is on lockdown at the moment. And there's some stuff going on. So, yeah.
America.
America. England. I've been to England several times, and I've always been fascinated with history. So I like the idea of walking down the street and there's a castle. I'd say it's a coin toss, toss between England and Italy. Lived in Italy as a kid and loved it. And visiting England is cool, but the idea of being in Europe and being able to visit another country within a 30-minute to 3-hour window is awesome. Similar to the States, but also very different at the same time.
Interesting.
What's the most interesting thing that I've learned about Japanese culture? It's very different from American culture. And I know it sounds like a smart ass answer, but it's not. That's something I actually enjoy about it, because it means that almost on a daily basis, I'm learning something different. How you respond to someone in certain situations will be very different. If someone's in the hospital, you don't bring them a potted plant ever. That's just bad, because it gives the sign of death, which someone told me recently. I'm like, wow, that's dark. Yeah. It's potted, which means it doesn't have room to grow.
Damn.
Is how it's explained to me. It's like, that's deep in a whole different kind of way. I'd never think of something like that, but glad to know now.
But if somebody opens a business, though, we see that all the time, right? So it needs to be flowers because they're blooming. I get it.
Flowers, yes, but not in a pot.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is for my good friend Luke. Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel. He says, how do you say the Geek of Steel in Japanese? The Geek of Steel. Yes. That was interesting. Didn't see that one coming. Okay. Hey, here. Well, the question for you that they asked me: if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be?
Nowhere. No. Space. Space. Oh wait, but the world
frontier.
Right. Man, Hawaii. Hawaii? I like the ocean. I like water. I am Aquaman. I am the Aquaman, the protector of the realms. No, just Hawaii.
If you were to move to Hawaii, I'd say move to Aiea.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice out there.
I've come to terms that I prefer peaceful, because I have a lot of anger issues and things like that, but being in Japan helps calm all of that down. So if I ever went back to America, I could imagine the only place that I could really chill out with the same idea is Hawaii. My only problem about Hawaii is because it's an island. Shipping is just that much. No, just Amazon. Like I'm a big Amazon orderer.
Yeah.
Like shipping, internet, all of that stuff is going to be a bigger problem than it is here in Japan. But you know, if I move to Okinawa, I would have the same problem. So, but
yeah,
you know,
milk is expensive. As silly as it sounds, I remember when I lived there and milk was almost twice as expensive as it was on mainland. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. What's up? It's like, I guess we'll have to find another source of dairy because it doesn't make sense to be paying $4 and $5 for a gallon of milk.
Got to get that WAP.
Yeah. Wow. Favorite Marvel movie besides MCU? I like how they put besides MCU, so they mean besides MCU as a whole, because it's just one long extended movie, or a besides a Marvel movie in the MCU. So I'm going to answer this in two ways.
I get it.
Outside the MCU, completely not tied to it, I'd say Blade was one of my favorite movies. Growing up, I mean, it kind of set a precedent for how technology was used for special effects and camera work, which if I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of that eventually got used for movies like The Matrix and Spider-Man that came up after that. So
and as far as I remember, Kevin Feige actually worked on Blade as well.
He may have worked on Blade and or Blade 2. I'd have to double check, but I think you're right.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's like at that time there wasn't anything out there like that, and most of the superhero movies were kind of campy, over the top. It's like, oh, comic books for kids, so they should be cheesy. Well, no, not really. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Spider-Man 2, actually. The Tobey Maguire version with Doc Ock. I liked the interaction of him and Doc Ock and how it was told. I remember the trailer, and I really enjoyed how the cars, what is it, taxi? It gets tossed and overturned. And it comes to the cafe when they're sitting there talking. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It was classic.
So I enjoyed that.
That started the whole Spider-Man icon thing of pulling something.
Yeah, pulling things together and trying to keep the train from going off the rails.
To at least 3 times in big versions now. So I love it. Speaking of
inside the MCU, oh, sorry, good. Say again.
I was speaking of underrated movies. Amazing Spider-Man 2. I always thought that one was underrated.
With Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. A lot of people did not like that movie, but I tear up watching that movie.
I enjoyed that movie, actually. I didn't feel as bad for Jamie Foxx's character in the beginning.
Right. Yeah. That some work. Yeah.
Because it felt a little forced, but afterwards it's like, okay, I kind of get it. But I liked Andrew Garfield's interpretation or his version.
I always feel like he got
Peter Parker.
He got a bad
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would love to see him back in some form or fashion.
In a multiverse, in a Spider-Verse, that would be cool.
Could happen. All right.
Yeah. And then inside the MCU, I would say my favorites are Captain America: Winter Soldier, which he already knows this. Black Panther, definitely. Those are probably my 2 favorites in the MCU that aren't connected to like every other franchise in general. Like they do well on their own and they do well connected. So I really enjoyed those 2. Okay, and moving on. Do you have a favorite inside MCU?
Yeah, Civil War. That's it. It would be too long to explain.
I'm not touching that one. I'm leaving all of that alone.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? What is my favorite meal for training? That's interesting. If I'm training for a role, it would depend on the role because for some roles I may need to be lighter, and the opposite may need to be heavier. So I'd say things that I could rely on in either direction, it would just depend on volume, quantity, would be steamed chicken or baked chicken, broccoli, mixed vegetables, jasmine rice. Definitely, jasmine rice is where it's at. That's
yeah. And you've been doing a few. You've gotten a few sponsor deals or something with.
Yeah, I've had some sponsored deals.
Yeah.
So drink wise, almond milk, Blue Diamond almond milk. I definitely recommend that, especially if you have allergies to dairy, but you want something that's good for your skin and or hair. It's definitely good. If you're looking at proteins, I'd say look at where is it? My Protein. They did a collaboration with DC, and when you order, you get a tumbler like this that has all the logos on it, which is pretty cool. Sorry, let me put it close to the light so you can see it. But even outside of that, My Protein I like. It's good. It's good for light training, heavy training, pretty much anything. And training routines, I mix it up. I try and mix it up all the time because I get bored easy. So even during COVID lockdowns here, it was lots of calisthenics, that kind of stuff, and kept carbs to a minimum because I wasn't as active outside as I was prior. Hopefully that answered your question. Do I have a favorite Japanese food? I have a few. I like Japanese sushi. Buri aburi toro, which is basically yellowtail, which is good. It's good as is, or when they do that light heat on the top of it. That's where it's at. What did you say?
I love catching yellowtail. Awesome.
So different. I do like Japanese ramen. Yakisoba. Yakisoba is good, especially when you use chicken instead of pork. It just has a nice pop to it, or sometimes fish. I promote tequila. Do I enjoy drinking it also? Yes. So I'm a partner with Don Sueños Tequila. I do enjoy tequila. I like alcohol. I don't drink as much as I used to because of my current activities and work or whatever, but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy all three versions that we have, which would be Anejo, Reposado, and Blanco. Blanco and Reposado are really good for mixing cocktails. I like Anejo to use when I'm having a steak, any type of branded Mexican style food because of the spices. And I like having it with sushi. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's also really
sushi
good to
and tequila. Who would have thought?
Yeah, right. It's just amazing. So yeah, I'd say if you're interested in knowing more, check out the bio and my link on Instagram. That information is there. Also, if you know someone or a company that's looking to get some support, since we've had lockdown and business has been bad here in Japan, also check out in the bio or go to the Instagram Save the Dream Japan, and that is the charity that we have set up to help donate for these companies, and all the proceeds go to those bars and restaurants that have registered on the site.
Hey, all they got to do is introduce them to the dreaded alcoholic here, and Akusan will put them back in business. Chug.
I like how you say that because we do ship both Japan and US. You can have it sent to you via website. So
bring them straight to my house. Cyber Japan girls, you know how they got that macho sushi thing going on where men are coming now and stripping and flexing when they deliver sushi. Bring the women, bring the tequila, and that's business right there. Boom!
I did not know that, and I'm now hearing it. I'm like,
ideas. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, tequila.
I'm safe.
Tequila. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be good. One more. The last question.
Yes. Last question is: will I go see Black Adam when it comes out? And what do I think of The Rock? I think The Rock's awesome. I think he's a very, very positive influence on our generation as well as the generations coming up, because he has a unique charisma that I think emanates in all his work. But even when he's not working and he's just talking to people in general, whether it be face to face or, his streams, he just has a way about him that I think is really nice, and it affects how you perceive things or interact with things in your daily life when you hear words of inspiration from anybody. So I like it. Will I go see Black Adam? Hell's yes. Been waiting 10 years for it. I'm definitely going to see it. As a matter of fact, I will be dragging him to the theater with me if the theaters are open, and I have to pay for his ticket because it's one of those things. It has to be done.
Oh man, I got it. I will be there day one. I mean, The Rock. I met that dude maybe twice. He's very soft toned in the voice, which is very surprising. But he's one of the nicest dudes. And grab the camera, grab the dude by the neck to take a picture with me. And I thought that was awesome. I'm like the people's champ, doing it for the people.
Yeah,
so, yeah, man.
He's amazing, man.
Yeah. So there you go.
Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Keep those questions coming,
guys. Yeah, but we had some good questions here. So
thanks.
Keep them coming in, and we'll continue it up and such.
Thanks. Keep it candid.
Keep it super. Later.
Peace.